according to various financial recommendations. You can even make investment decisions based on some popular social media influencers. But it is important to consider the question of how blindly you follow them. And after all, index funds are not some kind of magical or miraculous solution to everything in the financial world.
It's not the Holy Grail.
It's not the Holy Grail. If you're still going to buy individual stocks, then just because someone else tells you it's a good idea, that's not a sufficient argument.
What do you think about this so-called picking of individual stocks? I mean, a beginner investor opens up, say, a financial newspaper and gets a whole bunch of recommendations about which individual stock is the next big thing. So, individual stocks versus index funds. What's your take on that?
So, you should really only do that when you actually have a genuine, deep-seated interest in the specific subject, and when you truly want to go much deeper into the details, especially when you want to really understand the core concepts. And well, you see, index funds aren't really like a typical investment strategy that you might expect, a miraculous solution for absolutely everything.
It's not the Holy Grail.
It's not the Holy Grail. It's not the Holy Grail because people have started to believe in them a bit too much, and maybe they're being looked at over too short a period. For example, if I take the S&P 500 today, there are about 7 to 10 companies that basically determine the movement of the index. Out of those 7 companies, let's say about 4 are fundamentally at a point where they could expand over the coming years. Out of our solar system, so to speak, in the sense that they are extraordinarily exceptional. These companies are probably some of the most successful and highly lucrative enterprises in all of human history. It's just that they are currently priced in a way that is, so to say, completely impossible to accurately categorize or frame. Now the question is, okay, if I imagine that this index is, then I honestly do not know for certain. Maybe for the next 2 years or so. With, let's say, a 2-year investment horizon or a 3-year investment horizon as the only so-called instrument. And if I think that I have a certain amount of money and I put it all in there today, then this is something I would consider a very risky move, especially nowadays. And that means that moving from the general to the more specific, maybe you don't look at the broad index. Maybe I look at certain sectors. Then maybe I don't look at sectors anymore. Maybe I look at factors. Then I might look at size, large cap, mid cap, small cap, to see what could work there. And if I go through these processes, then maybe at some point I end up with individual stocks. If you actually go and buy individual stocks, just because someone tells you it's a good idea, is not a sufficient argument. But
this is exactly what everyone actually wants. They want someone to come and tell them what the right choice is, right? But our experience at start, from people starting to people finishing, is that everyone actually needs to become smart enough with money so that you don't have to ask anyone for advice. You understand yourself what you need, right?
Basically, well, people like simple solutions, but my point is that if you read in the newspaper that you should buy, I don't know, some Norwegian cosmetics manufacturer because it's supposedly really good, like the company's stock is supposedly really good and there's so much information about it, so a person goes and buys it, well, that's not much different from buying a lottery ticket. And then you can only hope that they don't do it for a lot of money.
I've just recently seen here in Estonia what can happen if you start making investment decisions based on someone else's recommendations. It can end very badly.
You can make investment decisions based on recommendations, even from some influencers, but the question is really that to what extent do you follow that blindly? That is, if someone thinks that some financial influencer is basically a guru and everything they say is pure gold, well, that's just not the case. And well, in that sense, well, how should I put this politely? Especially when it comes to financial influencers, it's a bit of a, let's say, while this principle might not be applicable in every single situation, those remarkable individuals who consistently seem to be speaking nothing but pure gold tend to possess a very unique perspective on the world around them. You'll utilize that so-called gold to expand and increase their personal financial wealth, or in more limited contexts, to grow the wealth of already more affluent and prosperous individuals.